Well, positionality is the researcher's relationship, their identities, their experiences, and the ways these shape the ways they see and interact in their research.
This episode is the contribution to SuTuPyu Podcast series hosted by Maber Radio Myanmar. The series aims to share or disseminate the scholarly knowledge of social science and humanities research in the context of Burma to the broader audience in accessible language. The Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify links can be found under the video, so please leave comments on your thoughts about the matter that we discuss. My name is Itenza. I am a Gosling Lim Fellow at Chiang University, RCSD Center, and also a visiting scholar at University of Cambridge.
Thank you very much for inviting me. My name is Dr. Liz Maber. I'm an associate professor at the University of Cambridge, where I work with E in the Faculty of Education. My work focuses on gender, education, and conflict.
So today, we plan to talk about conducting research in the context of conflicts and where the position, and we will talk more about the positionality of the researchers who is from the outside of the research community and who is from within the research community, right? So when we talk about positionality, what do we mean by positionality here?
Well, positionality is the researcher's relationship, their identities, their experiences, and the ways these shape the ways they see and interact in their research.
So like when we conduct research, that positionality, the relationships, the identity, the experience, it's important in that each and every step of research, right? Planning, data collection, and that some even writing and dissemination, all these parts, right?
Yeah.
So let's start thinking about from the beginning, like the planning part of the research, how do you plan to conduct a research in the context of conflict? How do you define conflicts? How do you see that?
Well, for each of us, our positionality in our research is different.
Yeah.
So the ways that we have approached our research is different, being mindful of the relationships that we already have in the contexts we work.
Yeah.
Now, I've been an academic at Cambridge for the last 8 years, but before that, I was a teacher and teacher trainer, and I worked in partnership with education groups and movements. So I had lived in Myanmar since 2009 and also worked in Thailand previously as well. For me, with my work in Myanmar and Thailand, the planning of my research is shaped by those previous encounters and those previous experiences. I tend to work naturally with people and in areas that I have existing professional knowledge. I work particularly with teachers, for example. And so when I'm planning the research that I'm interested in doing, it's really important for me to ask not what's just interesting to me as a researcher, but what's useful for the people that I work with. And I think in conflict settings, that question is our research useful, is a really important question to ask ourselves, not simply, is it interesting in an academic sense?
If I could ask follow-up, when you started planning for the research, the conflicts, where do you see as conflicts, a space of conflicts?
Well, Myanmar has changed a lot since 2009, and so my work has naturally evolved as well, and the kinds of issues and priorities that are important with the people I work with has also changed. However, gender, social interactions, social transformation, education's role in contributing or addressing social conflicts in different ways has always been a theme in my research, and so that's a dimension that has persisted even if the location of the research and the people I'm working with might have changed.
For me, it's a little different story, because when I plan research, I do research on Burma education. So I was a student before teacher, and then I was a teacher in mostly ethnic minorities area. So when I wanted to do research, it's mostly about education and language. So I'm from ethnic religious minority from Kokore. So it's like a little village in Kayin State. So everything is like the bombing or discrimination. Like it's structure. It's normalized, and I didn't really see it as conflicts. And when I planned the research in the beginning, I had to like think about what is accessible to me, like who I'm going to interview. So like you did, like the people that you know, like the people you've worked with. Me too, like I did, I planned that I'm gonna interview teachers and students. Like I'm gonna conduct my research with teachers and students because, you know, these are the people I know. Even though I wanted to ask to interview what the policymaker thinks or what the stakeholder thinks. But in my heart, I know that I dare not to ask them. I thought that they are not accessible to me, so that's what one I planned. But then like the way you were talking about conflict is that you see the social political conflicts happening. It was normal to me, but then after 2021 coup, the conflict was more obvious to me, and then it started changing the plan and everything. So like how for you, like how the 2021 coup changed like the methods and planning for you too?
I think that's a really important dimension of any work, and particularly research in conflict settings, is that adaptability and flexibility to respond, to change your methods, to change your priorities, to listen, and perhaps use different methods when it's clear that your existing methods are not appropriate. That happened in research projects I was working on, again in partnership with friends and colleagues in Myanmar in 2021, where a group of us who had previously worked together were writing about teachers' education and the changes in teachers' education in Myanmar. In 2021, that became a very different landscape, and while we had planned to interview teachers and trainee teachers in the teacher education colleges, that clearly was no longer an appropriate method to use. Instead, we shifted to a more reflexive piece. Each of us were positioned differently in that work. We were a group of 4 scholars, 3 from Myanmar and myself as a foreign researcher. And so we used the opportunity to reflect on our different positions and our different thoughts and experiences in the education system, and wrote about the shifting changes that we encountered instead of a wider survey. So it became a little bit more reflective.
Like change because of the change. We changed.
Yeah, because we didn't want to burden people at a time when there were much more important things going on in their lives.
And at that time, I would say like most people you would want to interview join the CDM and you wouldn't know where to find them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For me, it's like it's kind of, I don't know, like positive and negative. The people that I thought that I would not be accessible to, like the stakeholder and policy maker, are really easy to assess after the coup. Like they were all on the other side, right? Not in the government side, not with these big power holder and thing. They were all like, we are all on the same side, that kind of thing. And the people that we thought of, like students, teacher, what I was thinking to interview, or the hypothesis, every researcher I would say have a little bit of like what they might think. I mean, it's a little bit of hypothesis and the thing that the answer, but it's just change.